In the quiet early hours of June 22, 2013, a frantic phone call shattered the peace of a suburban street in South London. On the other end of the line was a father, his voice choked with panic, reporting that his 6-year-old daughter wasn't breathing. When paramedics rushed to the home in Sutton, it was already too late. Little Ellie Butler was gone. What first looked like a sudden, heartbreaking medical tragedy would soon unravel, exposing a story of systematic failure and unimaginable cruelty, becoming one of the most disturbing child abuse cases in recent British history. Ellie Butler was born in 2007 to her parents, Ben Butler and Jenny Gray. From the very start, red flags waved frantically around her safety. When Ellie was just 7 months old, she was rushed to the hospital. The diagnosis was chilling: severe injuries, including a broken leg. Medical professionals were clear in their assessment. These injuries were not accidental. The system moved swiftly. Ben Butler was charged with grievous bodily harm, and Ellie was taken from her parents' care. She found a safe haven with her maternal grandparents, a place where she could finally experience stability and love. For several years, Ellie thrived. She was in a secure, nurturing environment, surrounded by family who cherished her. But in the background, a relentless battle was being waged. Ben Butler never stopped fighting to get his daughter back. Despite his conviction, he insisted he was innocent, arguing that Ellie's injuries were a tragic accident. And then, in a stunning and highly controversial legal turn, his conviction was overturned. It wasn't because new evidence proved the injuries were accidental, but due to procedural issues in the original case. This decision opened a door that many believed should have remained permanently shut. In 2011, after years of legal wrangling and social service assessments, family court judge made a fateful ruling. Ellie was to be returned to her parents. Social services, believing the risks could be managed, supported the decision. This went against the desperate pleas and serious objections of other professionals and family members who saw the danger looming. And so, Ellie was sent back into the home she had been rescued from. Behind closed doors, the life Ellie was forced to live quickly spiraled into a nightmare. At school, teachers and staff began to notice deeply troubling changes. The bright, happy child was disappearing, replaced by a girl who seemed withdrawn, anxious, and perpetually fearful. She often arrived at school dirty, visibly hungry, and emotionally distressed. In one heartbreaking moment, she confided in a teacher, whispering that her father hurt her. These desperate cries for help were reported. The alarms were sounded. But tragically, no decisive action was ever taken to remove her from the escalating danger. The morning of June 22, 2013 was the end of Ellie's short, tormented life. When questioned, Ben Butler claimed she had simply collapsed after feeling unwell. But the post-mortem examination revealed a far more violent and horrifying reality. Ellie had suffered catastrophic injuries. Severe forceful blow to her abdomen had caused massive internal bleeding. The pathologist also found a landscape of older bruises and other signs of repeated sustained abuse. The medical evidence was undeniable. Ellie had been killed by a violent assault. As the police investigation deepened, Ben Butler's history of violence and control became impossible to ignore. A chilling portrait emerged from witness statements, which described his explosive temper, his intimidating presence, and his manipulative behavior. A trail of text messages, school reports, and social services records painted a devastating picture of a little girl living in a constant state of terror. In 2014, justice, in its own way, finally arrived. Ben Butler was convicted of Ellie's murder. He showed no remorse, no flicker of emotion, as he was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 23 years. Her mother, Jenny Gray, who had stood by and done nothing, was convicted of causing or allowing the death of a child. For her failure to protect her own daughter, she was sentenced to just 3 years in prison. Years later, after Allie's death, Hannah gave a witness statement to investigators. Her words paint a portrait of a man who was not just violent but pathologically so. She described how Butler's face would contort with rage when he turned his fists on her, how there was no warning, no buildup, how he would flip, as she put it, between 3 different characters. The first character was normal Ben, charming, loving, the man who made you believe he could change. The second character was violent Ben, pure evil, Hannah called him. A face twisted with rage, fist flying, completely out of control. And the third character was what Hannah called babyfied Ben, After the violence, he would transform into an almost childlike state. He would apologize. He would cry. He would beg for forgiveness. He would say, "I am sorry. I am sorry. I cannot believe I've done this. It is not me." This is textbook abuser psychology. Cycle of violence, remorse, and promises. The way abusers convince their victims that the violence is an aberration, not the norm. That the real person is the one who cries and apologizes afterward, not the one who throws punches. Hannah said something that stayed with me. She said, "He always used to hit me in the face. I did not think he could help it. He used to lose control so completely. Even on Christmas Day," she said, "he switched for no reason, held her down and gave her a black eye." The case sent shockwaves across the entire United Kingdom and beyond. It forced a painful and necessary public inquiry into the family court system and social services. How could a child with such a clear, documented history of abuse be returned to a known violent parent? Why were the warning signs, the reports from teachers, and Ellie's own words ignored? Ellie Butler was only 6 years old when her life was stolen from her. Her story is a devastating and powerful reminder of the catastrophic consequences of systemic failure. It underscores the profound responsibility we all share to listen, truly listen, when a child is brave enough to say they are afraid. In memory of Ellie and all the children who have been silenced. Thank you for watching. If you found this story important, please consider subscribing for more content that matters. If you or someone you know needs help, please know that support is available. We'll leave resources in the description below. Please take care.